All right, I'm walking along here and just again taking it really easy, not trying to do anything super fancy. And again, I'm going 17-minute pace for a walk, which is a nice leisurely stroll. But here what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about my race plan going into Oceanside. And I said I was going to do this in some of the other previous videos, but now you get to hear it from me in person on this. So I'm currently walking along here on the run course, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But to give an idea about what this course is about, it's an ocean swim, and then got a hilly bike course, and then going onto this path here for the run. Overall, I would say this is a fairly honest course. I wouldn't say it's easy. It's definitely not the hardest courses that I've gone through. I would say Victoria is more technically challenging, but it's really all about management and strategy. I mean, that's really the case when we start getting into 70.3 racing and, of course, full Ironman or 140.6 racing. So the thought here is making sure that we do indeed take it relatively easy. Going out on the swim, it's going to be the first 200 meters is going to be pure execution. Just focusing on getting to that first buoy and sighting a little bit, and knowing that I'm going to have to consume a little bit more energy than I would like to, just because I know that it's going to be a little bit rough when it comes to the surf. And so with the surf in mind, it's a matter of getting through those first 200 meters, and then from there it starts to stabilize a little bit once you get out into the ocean and hopefully settle into a groove. And I need to be aggressive here, and again, it's going to be tough, but ocean swims are not ever easy. No matter what people say that swims are easy. Well, I guess there are a few exceptions, like Ironman Cosmo, where it's just swimming downstream and it's freaking amazing. But that aside, those are the few exceptions, but this is going to be the harder of the ocean swims. And so my goal, of course, is to beat my time of 32 minutes that I did last October, which was a really frustratingly terrible swim. So I'm hoping to be out there a little bit more aggressive and be a little bit smarter when it comes to diving underneath the waves as it comes to the surf. So that being stated, I'm hoping to go through transitions fairly smoothly. I'm not going to be pushing very hard with any of these transitions, just because, one, I haven't fully prepped for it because you let that truck go through. So first is really making sure I'm getting in and out of transitions in one piece, and I'm not going to truly rush transition. I like to be quick, not fast, and that's going to be the overall mentality. And now I'm deviating it a little away from the run course, but this is the fastest path back to the hotel, so be it, and the least amount of incline. So that's the swim in there. So now we'll get into now I've finished talking about transition T1, that is. I will take a gel in transition 1, and then going onto the bike, I will have 4 gels with me, at least in the mental box. I may need to consume a 5th. The 5th is going to be in my back pocket, so I'm going to carry that 5th gel with me. And so 5 gels for what I think is going to roughly be about a 2.5-hour bike ride. Pretty hard. The first hour is going to be all about controlling that normalized power, or in this case really controlling regular power output, because there's only about 400 feet of elevation gain in the first 28 miles of the course. So again, it's going to be about power management and making sure that I'm not doing too much too early, because it's very tempting to do that. The roads are not going to be the best, and because of that, I have to be a little bit careful. And I do not want to go into one of the no path zones going too hard. So That being stated, then the next thing really is to then the second half, there's Hell Hill, which is basically a 12% grade hill for half a mile. I've got an 11:28 right now, and I've dropped my bike off in the transition as an 11:28, so I'm just gonna have to live with my suffering. I would love to have an 11:30, but there's really not one anywhere around to be seen for months and miles. So I'm just gonna have to really think about, well, making sure that I don't go too deep into VO2 max power at the 28 cog. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of strategy. I'm going to have to play with that. There's no easy way around it. And then there's additional couple of climbs afterwards that are also going to require quite a bit of power management. I'm going to try to be at around FTP for those climbs maximum. I don't want to spend too much energy, but at the same time, I don't want to be not moving at all. And then going into there will be the notorious 25-mile-an-hour speed zone, but after that it's basically mostly downhill from there. A lot of fun going down it. That's where I'm going to recharge my batteries a bit, and then that'll come into mile 45 through 55. It's going to be going into a little bit of a headwind, and that's, again, it's going to be about pushing out. Now, hopefully, if my nutrition plan is right, then we'll be able to push out some watts to get through that section, similar to my 1 hour at Ironman and 1 hour at 70.3 pace workout that Lionel Sanders did, and I did that a couple of weeks ago, and I suffered through that, so I'm gonna kind of go through a similar thing. Hopefully I won't be suffering as much for that. So then, if all set is all well, then it'll probably be around 2.5 hours for the bike. Hopefully I won't crash, and so I'll be a little bit smarter this time. So that being stated, again, really the first goal is to make it through in one piece and not crash. I mean, it's going to be hard when you're working hard and you lose foot concentration just for a little bit, and you end up in the wrong place. So I don't want that to happen to me this time. So that's basically the bike, and then we go into T2, and it's a little bit of a zigzag, as I have shared in one of the other videos relating to transition. So again, not trying to rush transition. You got to make sure that we are quick, not fast, right? Quick, not fast. Quick transitions are better than fast transitions, especially in a long race like this. So I probably will take the gel in T2. It's probably going to be assist gel, and again, going it steady, making sure I can think through things, have a methodical approach to T2. So I typically approach transitions at least a few minutes prior to think about, okay, how do I go and execute the transition, right? Just thinking about the process rather than trying to go and do anything extra, because it's already going to be stressful. So why make it more stressful than it needs to be? Then the last part is going to be the run. I'll have 3 gels on me for the run. I will take fluids in T2 prior to going out into the run, and it's going to be a gel roughly every 5K, kind of depending how I feel, and it may extend out a little bit based on my experience in the last time I've done this course. So that may end up being, how would I put it? So if all goes well, then I may not even need all 3 gels, just because what will happen in the aid stations, so every mile I will go and consume water. You have to drink the fluids early. It is a must if you want to do well and perform well. And in the middle stages, I probably will also take a cup of Gatorade, not just for fluids, but also for a little bit of electrolyte, and also some carbohydrate to supplement with what I'm going to be taking on me with the Cis Energy gels. So the run, I'm hoping, the brick run speeds have been sub 7-minute mile, which I think are great in terms of the overall speed. So again, nothing too out of the ordinary. Currently wearing my Hoka shoes on right now to kind of make sure, okay, I'm understanding the fit of them. And aside from that, then just going out there and putting out a number and going at a zone 4 effort, which for me is in the low 160s, and then trying to see how I feel after the first 2 miles, 2.5 miles, kind of on feel, on what is going to be the pace that I could sustain for 13.1. It's going to be painful, so well, just go out there and leave it out on the course is kind of my mentality with it. So we'll see. I probably will end up being more like 7:15 pace, but considering where I was in October when I raced this, which was 7:40 pace, I think I'm significantly faster now on the run, and I'm coming into this race in better shape and form compared to when I was doing this in October, where I was just like, I just need to get to the start line and just get done. So this is, again, as and then going in, finishing the run, hopefully finishing strong and emptying out the tank. But aside from that, it's going to again be all about really strategizing the efficiency of how I go and consume the energy in the beginning stages leading up into the run. So remember, what you do in your swim goes and preps into your bike, which preps into your run, not including, of course, all the transitional effects or all the transitions. So there you go. That's a kind of a recap of kind of what my race strategy is. Again, I'm just more or less seeing what is the number that I'm going to be able to put out, and there's still going to be some more or less some feelers that I've got to go. I'm going to be experimenting a little bit on this run to see kind of where it is that I need to go and work on. I've got a little bit better top end run speed, but as I've mentioned before, what kind of worries me a little bit is going to be, well, how do I go and manage this bike power? Because I definitely felt the suffering the last time I did it, which I'm going to expect the same thing to happen again, but we'll just go from there and hopefully manage it a little bit better this time. So I have now gone and returned back to the Oceanside Pier, and there you have it. That's my initial planning for, or at least that's my initial plan going into this race. I am not going to be completely trying to kill myself in this race because, again, I've got bigger goals in terms of the big one that's coming up at the end of June, which is Ironman Frankfurt. So again, this is more of a gauge just to see where I am from a fitness standpoint, and then see what are the improvement areas that I need to go into as I start going into the Ironman build. All right, so there's the recap for you. And as always, if you like the content that I go and post out, go and hit that subscribe for me button for me. That really helps out the channel. And of course, hit the bell notification for getting up to date on the latest and greatest of the videos that I go and post. And of course, leave a comment down below to give what your thoughts are. And lastly, my bib number is 192. I'll repeat, my bib number is 192 for those that are wanting to track me on the Ironman tracker or whatever tracking apps that may be out there as well. And until then, I will talk with folks later here as I start to approach into the going back to the hotel and going into the Ironman village. So until then, I'll talk to you in the next one. Yoshi out.